The massive white hull of the UNHS Mercy gleamed against the darkness of space, its red crosses and medical symbols clearly visible against the pristine surface. The hospital ship moved slowly through the star-filled void, its engines humming quietly as it approached the war-torn Centauri sector. Inside the ship's command center, Captain Lisa Reed stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the main display screen with careful attention. "Status report," she called out, her voice calm but firm. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations, each focused on their vital tasks of keeping the massive hospital ship running smoothly. "All medical bays report ready, Captain," responded the ship's AI, its voice programmed to be soothing yet professional. "Current patient count is at 412, with 73 in critical care." Lisa nodded, thinking about the countless lives they'd saved over the past 3 months. The Mercy wasn't just any hospital ship. It was humanity's finest achievement in space-based medical care. The vessel stretched over a kilometer in length, carrying enough medical supplies and equipment to treat thousands. More importantly, it carried hope to those caught in the crossfire of galactic conflicts. Deep in the surgery ward, Dr. Tom Walker focused intently on the delicate operation before him. His patient, a young alien refugee with severe plasma burns, needed immediate attention. The doctor's steady hands never wavered as the ship's artificial gravity compensated for their movement through space. "Vital signs stable," reported the medical assistant, monitoring the various displays showing the patient's complex biology. The operating room hummed with advanced medical equipment, much of it specially designed to treat the dozens of different species they encountered. In another part of the ship, head nurse Mary Phillips conducted her rounds, checking on patients from 6 different species. She moved from bed to bed with practiced ease, her universal translator helping her communicate with each patient. The medical bay was designed with maximum efficiency in mind, allowing the staff to reach any patient within seconds if needed. The ship's mess hall was quieter than usual during the night shift. Jack Morris, the communications officer, sat alone with his coffee, reviewing the latest reports from the sector ahead. The war between the 2 alien factions had left countless civilian casualties, and the Mercy was one of the few ships allowed to cross battle lines freely. Their neutrality was their shield, respected by most civilized species in the galaxy. "Approaching the outer edge of the conflict zone," announced the ship's AI over the internal communications system. The message brought a subtle change to the atmosphere aboard the Mercy. The medical staff began their practiced routines, preparing for the possibility of new patients. In the ship's massive storage bay, supply officers conducted inventory checks on their vast medical supplies. The Mercy carried everything from basic bandages to the most advanced regeneration equipment. They had to be ready for anything: war wounds, exotic diseases, or environmental accidents. Captain Reed reviewed the latest diplomatic clearances on her tablet. The Mercy's mission was purely humanitarian, treating anyone who needed help, regardless of their species or which side of the conflict they supported. This policy had earned them respect throughout the galaxy, though some still found it hard to understand why humans would risk their lives to help strangers. The ship's external cameras showed the distant flashes of space combat, far enough away to be safe, but close enough to remind everyone of their purpose here. The Mercy's hull was painted with universal medical symbols recognized by all spacefaring species, marking it as a neutral vessel dedicated to healing. As they moved deeper into the sector, the crew continued their work with quiet efficiency. None of them knew that in less than 24 hours, they would face a situation that would remind the galaxy why humans, even their medical personnel, were classified as Deathworlders. For now, they focused on their primary mission: saving lives and providing hope in the darkness of space. The Mercy continued its journey, its white hull reflecting the light of distant stars, carrying its cargo of healing and help to those who needed it most. The ship's motto, written in multiple languages along its hull, spoke of their mission: healing knows no borders. Soon, that motto would be tested in ways none of them expected. Jack Morris frowned at his communication console, adjusting the settings for the 3rd time. The strange readings had started appearing an hour ago, encrypted signals that didn't match any known military or civilian patterns. He took another sip of his coffee, now cold, and continued his analysis. "Captain," he called over the internal comm system, "I'm picking up some unusual transmissions. They're using old encryption methods, but they're not matching any registered frequencies." In the command center, Captain Reed turned her attention to the long-range sensor displays. Several small ships had appeared at the edge of their scanning range. They weren't broadcasting any identification signals, which was unusual for this sector. "Mirrors, analyze those vessel configurations," she ordered the ship's eye. The medical emergency response system processed the data quickly, comparing the ships to its database. "Warning," Mayura's announced, its normally calm voice carrying a note of concern. "Vessel configurations match known pirate signatures. Crimson Blade faction, 87% probability." The captain's expression hardened. Pirates in this sector was bad news, especially the Crimson Blades. They were known for attacking refugee ships and stealing medical supplies to sell on the black market. Down in Surgery Bay 3, Dr. Walker remained focused on his patient, unaware of the growing tension above. He was performing a delicate neural reconstruction, his hand steady as he worked with microscopic tools. The only sounds were the quiet beeping of medical monitors and the soft hum of equipment. "Doctor," a nurse spoke quietly, "we're getting security alerts from the bridge. Should we prepare for lockdown?" Walker didn't look up from his work. "Continue as normal. We have protocols for this." Years of working on the Mercy had taught him to trust the security teams to handle external threats, while medical staff focused on their patients. In the medical supply storage, Mary Phillips and her team were already moving into action. They had drills for situations like this, carefully designed protocols that looked like normal inventory procedures to outside observers. Essential medicines were being quietly moved to secure locations, while decoy supplies took their place on the main shelves. Multiple vessels approaching, Mayura's announced shipwide. Current trajectory indicates intercept course. Time to contact, 17 minutes. Captain Reed stood at her command station, outwardly calm as she assessed the situation. The Mercy could outrun most pirate vessels, but their engines were currently optimized for smooth, stable operation. Better for patient care than rapid maneuvers. "Begin protocol shield," she ordered. Throughout the ship, subtle changes began taking place. Corridor lights dimmed slightly to conserve power. Non-essential systems entered standby mode. In the medical bays, magnetic locks quietly engaged on equipment storage units. Jack Morris continued monitoring the communications channels, recording everything. The pirates weren't being particularly careful about masking their transmissions now. They probably thought a hospital ship wouldn't have advanced monitoring equipment. "Captain," he called out, "they're coordinating attack positions. I count 6 ships total." The pirates were in for a surprise if they thought the Mercy was defenseless. Every human knew the stories. Tales of their homeworld, Earth, where even the healers had to be warriors. Where medical knowledge included understanding how to harm as well as heal. Where hospital ships carried more than just medicines. But for now, Captain Reed would follow procedure. "Open a channel," she ordered. "Let's try diplomacy first." Outside, the Mercy continued its steady course, its white hull gleaming. The red medical crosses stood out clearly against the darkness of space, ancient symbols of healing and protection. Soon, they would also serve as a warning, reminding the galaxy why humans were classified as Deathworlders, and why attacking their healers was a terrible mistake. The pirate ships grew closer, their weapons already charging. In Surgery Bay 3, Dr. Walker continued his work, his steady hands never wavering. In the supply rooms, Mary Phillips finished securing the real medical supplies. And on the bridge, Captain Reed prepared to demonstrate why even human mercy had teeth. The main screen on the Mercy's bridge flickered to life, revealing the scared face of the pirate leader. His scales gleamed dully under harsh lighting, and his cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on Captain Reed. "This is the UNHS Mercy," Reed spoke clearly, her voice firm but diplomatic. "We are a neutral medical vessel protected under Article 7 of the Galactic Convention. State your business." The pirate leader's laugh was harsh and metallic. "Protected? Out here?" He leaned closer to his camera. "We know what you carry, human. Your medicines, your tech, your supplies. Hand them over, and we might let your crew live." Behind Reed, Jack Morris worked quietly at his console, broadcasting their conversation on all emergency frequencies. Every word was being recorded and transmitted to nearby stations and ships. The pirates either didn't notice or didn't care. "Our supplies are for the sick and wounded," Reed responded. "We have patients aboard who need them. However, if any of your crew require medical attention, we will gladly provide it." More laughter from the pirates, joined by other voices off-screen. "Typical human weakness," the leader sneered, "always trying to help. This is why your species will never truly understand space. Too soft, too kind." In the medical bay, patients watched nervously as staff secured equipment and prepared for possible impact. Mary Phillips moved from bed to bed, reassuring everyone in multiple languages. The wounded soldiers from both sides of the local conflict looked at each other, temporarily united in their concern. "This is your final warning," Reed stated, her tone hardening slightly. "We are a medical vessel. If you attack us, there will be consequences." The pirate leader's cybernetic eye glowed brighter. "Consequences? From a hospital ship?" He turned to someone off-screen. "Target their engines. Let's show them what real consequences look like." The first shot rocked the Mercy slightly. The ship's stabilizers kicked in immediately, keeping the patients secure in their beds. In Surgery Bay 3, Dr. Walker didn't even pause in his work as the ship shuddered. His patient's life depended on his steady hands. "Direct hit to outer engine shield," Mayers reported calmly. "Shield integrity at 97%. No damage to internal systems." The pirate leader's confident expression faltered slightly. "Their weapons should have done more damage. What kind of hospital ship has military-grade shields?" he demanded. "The humankind," Reed answered simply. "This is your last chance. Break off your attack, or we will be forced to defend ourselves." "Defend yourselves?" The pirate leader was practically snarling now. "With what? Bandages? Medicine? You're healers, not warriors." Another volley of shots hit the Mercy. The shields flickered but held strong. Throughout the ship, the crew continued their duties calmly, as if being attacked was just another day at work. In many ways, it was. Human medical professionals were always prepared for the worst. "You seem to have forgotten something important," Reed said, her voice now carrying an edge that made several of the bridge crews smile grimly. "Something that everyone in the galaxy should remember about humans." The pirate leader's expression showed a flicker of uncertainty. "And what's that?" "We're from Earth," Reed stated simply. "A death world, where even our healers have to be warriors to survive, where our medical training includes combat skills, where every hospital ship carries more than just medicine." She gestured to Jack, who cut the communication. Around the ship, hidden panels began to slide open. Weapons systems, carefully disguised as medical equipment, powered up. The Mercy's true nature, a combination of healing center and defensive fortress, was about to be revealed. "All hands," Reed's voice echoed through the ship. "Prepare for defensive operations. Remember your training. Protect our patients, and show them why attacking the human hospital ship was their worst mistake." The Mercy's transformation was swift and silent. Medical scanner arrays rotated to reveal hidden weapon ports. Diagnostic equipment shifted, their innocent-looking sensors now tracking the pirate vessels with deadly precision. The ship's white hull seemed to darken as protective armor plates slid into place around critical areas. "All defensive systems online," Mayers announced. "Medical bay isolation protocols active. Patient safety confirmed." In the lead pirate ship, alarms began blaring. Their scanners, finally penetrating the Mercy's carefully maintained facade, showed readings that made no sense. The pirate leader stared at his displays in disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered, his cybernetic eye whirring rapidly as it tried to process the data. "Those can't be weapon signatures, not on a hospital ship." Back on the Mercy's bridge, Captain Reed watched the tactical display with calm satisfaction. "Status report," she ordered, her voice steady. "All patients are secured," Mary Phillips reported from the medical bay. "Emergency stabilization fields are active around critical care units. We're ready." Dr. Walker's voice came next, still focused on his surgery. "Bay 3 is secure. Patient stable. Do what you need to do, Captain." The pirates fired again, this time aiming for what they thought was the ship's vulnerable medical section. Their weapons struck a previously invisible energy barrier, spreading harmless ripples across its surface. "Return fire," Reed commanded. "Non-lethal options only. Remember our oath." The Mercy's hidden weapons activated, but instead of traditional energy weapons, they fired precise bursts of modified medical equipment. Targeted electromagnetic pulses, designed to disable ships without harming crew. Concentrated beams of the same energy used in healing devices, now tuned to disrupt ship systems rather than repair tissue. "What kind of weapons are these?" the pirate leader demanded over the still-open emergency channel. His ship shuddered as another pulse hit, shutting down non-essential systems. "These aren't weapons," Reed replied calmly. "They're medical tools. We've just adjusted the settings." Throughout the Mercy, the crew worked with practiced efficiency. Supply officers converted medicine synthesizers into defensive gas generators. Engineers redirected power from healing beams to disruption fields. Every piece of medical equipment had a secondary defensive purpose, carefully designed and regularly practiced. The pirate ships tried to maneuver for better attack positions, but the Mercy was no longer the slow, peaceful vessel it first approached. It moved with surprising agility, its engines now running at full combat power while maintaining the stable internal environment needed for patient care. "Target their propulsion systems," Reed ordered. "Let's make sure they stay for their checkup." More pulses fired from the Mercy's modified equipment. One pirate ship lost power to its engines. Another spun slowly, its navigation system scrambled by precisely targeted energy bursts. The pirates' return fire grew increasingly erratic. "How?" The pirate leader's voice cracked over the comm. "You're supposed to be healers." "We are healers," Reed confirmed. "But we're human healers. We come from a world where medical knowledge includes understanding exactly how bodies and machines can break. Where doctors need to be stronger than their patients to save them. Where every medical tool can be used to disable as well as heal." The Mercy's final defensive systems activated. Quarantine fields, normally used to contain diseases, now reached out to envelop the pirate ships. Recovery drones, designed to rescue patients from space, moved to disable external weapons. In the medical bay, patients watched in amazement through reinforced windows as their hospital turned into a fortress. The wounded soldiers, who had seen countless battles, gained a new respect for their human caretakers. "Remember," Reed's voice carried across all channels, "we took an oath to do no harm. But we never promised not to hurt those who threaten our patients." The pirate ships hung motionless in space, caught in the Mercy's medical-turned-defensive systems, their crews about to learn why the galaxy classified even human healers as Deathworlders. The pirates who managed to breach the Mercy's outer hull quickly learned another harsh lesson about human medical ships. Every corridor was designed with defense in mind, every junction a potential checkpoint, and every medical staff member a trained combat medic. Mary Phillips moved swiftly through the pediatric ward, her nurse's uniform now revealing built-in armor plates. She carried a modified medical scanner that could double as a neural disruptor, carefully tuned to stun without causing permanent damage. 2 pirate raiders lay unconscious at the ward entrance, taken down before they could threaten her young patients. "All children are secure," she reported calmly through her comm unit. "Vital signs stable. Ward defenses holding." In Surgery Bay 3, Dr. Walker continued his delicate operation, even as the sounds of combat echoed through the ship. A pirate burst through the door, weapon raised, then stopped in confusion at the sight of the doctor calmly operating. "I wouldn't move if I were you," Walker said without looking up from his patient. The pirate didn't notice the medical drones silently positioning themselves behind him. One quick burst of targeted anesthetic gas, and he joined the growing number of unconscious raiders in the ship's secure holding areas. Throughout the Mercy, similar scenes played out. Medical orderlies demonstrated combat training that surprised even the most hardened pirates. Recovery room staff used their knowledge of pressure points and anatomy to subdue intruders. Even the hospital psychiatrists proved dangerous, using their understanding of behavior and psychology to predict and counter the raiders' moves. Security team to Deck 4. Mayors announced. Patient evacuation in progress. The ship's security officers, all cross-trained as emergency medical technicians, moved with precision. They knew every corner of the Mercy, using the ship's layout to their advantage. Maintenance tunnels designed for moving medical equipment became tactical routes. Storage rooms transformed into defensive positions. "They're in the main pharmacy," a voice reported over the comm. "Trying to steal the supplies." The pirates who broke into the pharmacy found themselves facing Dr. Anna Lee, the ship's head pharmacist. She stood calmly behind her dispensing counter, surrounded by thousands of medications. "I should warn you," she said to the startled raiders. "I know exactly what every drug in here does to every known species." Her hand rested near a row of injectors. "Would you like to see what happens when I combine them?" The pirates hesitated, suddenly unsure. They had expected resistance from security forces, not from medical staff who could disable them in a dozen different ways using only their professional knowledge. In the intensive care unit, a group of raiders found themselves trapped between beds, the unit's layout suddenly seeming maze-like and confusing. The medical staff had practiced these scenarios countless times, using their knowledge of the ship's systems to their advantage. "Remember," Captain Reed's voice came over the ship-wide comm, "protect the patients first. Use necessary force only. And show them why Earth's medical training includes combat courses." The pirates were learning the hard way that human medical knowledge was a double-edged sword. Every healing technique could be reversed. Every diagnostic tool could identify weaknesses. Every treatment method could be adapted to incapacitate. Back in the pediatric ward, Mary Phillips finished securing the last unconscious raider. Her young patients watched with wide eyes as their gentle nurse efficiently disabled 3 armed pirates, using nothing more than her medical knowledge and modified equipment. "Story time isn't canceled," she assured the children with a warm smile, her armor plates retracting into her uniform. "But first, we need to make sure our uninvited guests are properly sedated." Throughout the ship, the medical staff continued their dual roles: healers who could fight, caregivers who could defend. They moved with the precision that came from years of handling both medical emergencies and combat situations, proving why human hospital ships were respected and feared throughout the galaxy. Captain Reed stood at her command station, watching the tactical display as the Mercy launched its counterattack. The pirate ships hung in space around them, their crews learning that a hospital ship's knowledge of biology and medicine made it a terrifying opponent. "Launch medical quarantine drones," she ordered. The Mercy's sides opened, releasing dozens of small white drones. Usually used for rescuing patients from space or containing disease outbreaks, they now swarmed toward the pirate vessels with different programming. "Target their life support systems," Jack Morris called out from his station. "Their main shift shields are weakening on the port side." The drones attached themselves to the hulls of the pirate ships. Using the same tools they normally employed to sterilize medical equipment, they began cutting through the outer armor. The pirates' weapons couldn't target the small, fast-moving drones effectively. In the medical lab, Dr. Lee worked quickly, mixing compounds in the ship's automated synthesis units, delivering emergency response package, she reported. The drones injected her carefully designed gas mixture into the pirate ship's ventilation systems, the same delivery method used for treating airborne diseases. Non-lethal paralytic agent deployed, MERS confirmed. Pirate crew vital signs are stable but incapacitated. Estimated recovery time: 4 hours. The pirate leader's voice crackled over the comm, now slurred and desperate. What did you do to us?" "Just a mild sedative," Reed replied calmly. "The same one we use for anxious patients. You'll wake up with a headache. Nothing more." Throughout the Mercy, the crew continued their coordinated defense. Recovery teams in medical exosuits, designed for rescuing patients from hazardous environments, now used them to board the disabled pirate ships. Their medical scanners, tuned to detect life signs, made it impossible for any pirates to hide. "Engineering to bridge," a voice reported. "We've redirected power from the tissue regeneration systems, ready to deploy the containment field." Reed nodded. "Do it." The Mercy's most powerful medical system, normally used to create sterile fields for sensitive procedures, expanded outward. The energy field enveloped the pirate ships completely, trapping them in a bubble of controlled space. Inside the field, the Mercy had complete control over everything from air composition to gravity. "Reducing oxygen levels to minimum safe threshold," Mary Phillips announced from her station. She adjusted the environmental controls with the same precision she used when treating patients with breathing difficulties. "They'll be conscious but lethargic, unable to resist." Dr. Walker, having finished his surgery successfully, joined the bridge crew. "Patient stable and recovering," he reported. "Now shall we check on our uninvited guests? They might need medical attention after their unfortunate decision." The Mercy's medical staff moved through the captured pirate ships with professional efficiency. They treated injuries, secured prisoners, and gathered evidence, all while using their medical knowledge to ensure no further resistance. "Found their weapons storage," a security team reported. "They were carrying enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. And yet they couldn't penetrate our defenses," Reed observed. "Almost like we designed this ship knowing someone might be foolish enough to attack a human medical vessel." The last of the pirate crew was secured, their ships under complete control. The Mercy's medical staff had demonstrated why humans were different from other species, why their healers were also warriors, why their medical ships were fortresses of mercy. "Send word to the nearest patrol," Reed ordered. "Tell them we have some patients who need a different kind of care. And inform the Galactic Medical Council. They'll want to know why we had to activate our defensive protocols." The Mercy hung in space, its white hull now marked with minor battle damage, but still proud. Around it, the captured pirate ships floated helplessly in the containment field, their crews learning a lesson about human medical ships that would soon spread throughout the galaxy. 3 days after the attack, the Mercy had returned to its normal routine. The ship's pristine white hulls showed no signs of the recent battle. In the medical bay, the pirate crew now lay in beds alongside other patients, receiving the same careful treatment as everyone else. The pirate leader woke up to find Captain Reed standing beside his bed, checking his medical charts. His cybernetic eye was offline, safely disabled by the medical staff, but his organic eye widened in recognition. "Why?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "Why treat us after we attacked you?" Reed placed the chart back at the foot of his bed. "Because that's what we do. We're healers first. The fact that we can fight doesn't change that." News of the incident had spread quickly through the sector. Ships passing the Mercy now gave it an even wider berth of respect. The sight of its red crosses and white hull brought not just hope to those in need, but a reminder of humanity's unique nature. In the ship's conference room, Reed met with representatives from the Galactic Medical Council who had arrived to investigate the incident. The aliens sat nervously, watching video footage of how the hospital ship had disabled 6 pirate vessels without causing a single death. "Remarkable," one council member said, their translator struggling to convey their mix of awe and concern. "Your medical staff disabled a pirate fleet using only modified medical equipment." "Of course," Reed replied, "Every human medical professional knows how bodies work, which means we also know how they can be stopped. It's part of our training." Dr. Walker joined the meeting, bringing updated reports on the recovering pirates. "All patients are stable," he reported, "even the ones who tried to shoot me during surgery." Though I did give them a lecture about proper operating room etiquette, the council members exchanged worried looks. The idea of medical knowledge being used so effectively for defense challenged their understanding of how hospital ships should operate. In the pediatric ward, Mary Phillips read stories to her young patients, including the children of some of the pirates who had tried to raid them. The kids didn't care about the politics or the implications. They just knew they were safe and cared for. "The galaxy needs to understand," Reed explained to the council, "that human medical ships will always help those in need. But we come from Earth, a death world where even our healers must know how to fight, where saving lives sometimes means being strong enough to protect them." The council's report would soon spread throughout known space. It detailed how the Mercy had not only defended itself, but had done so while maintaining its medical ethics, how it had captured and then treated its attackers, how every piece of medical equipment had served a defensive purpose without compromising its healing capabilities. Jack Morris, monitoring communications from his station, smiled as he read the incoming messages. Other ships were already spreading the story. The human hospital ship that had defeated pirates using nothing but medical knowledge and equipment. The healers who were warriors. The Deathworlders who could save you or stop you with the same tools. "Captain," he called out, "you should see some of these messages. Looks like pirates across 3 sectors are suddenly giving medical ships a very wide berth." Reed stood on her bridge, watching the stars through the main viewport. The Mercy had resumed its mission, heading toward the next crisis, the next group of patients who needed help. Its white hull gleamed as brightly as ever, its red crosses standing out against the darkness of space. "Send a message to all frequencies," she ordered. "The UNHS Mercy is returning to its regular duties. Any vessels requiring medical assistance need only ask. We're here to heal." She paused, then added, "But we're also ready to demonstrate again why humans are classified as Deathworlders, even our doctors." The Mercy continued its journey through space, carrying its cargo of healing and hope, along with a new reputation that would spread across the galaxy. Never attack a human hospital ship. They'll heal you either way, but you might not like how they do it.